bones. Someone was on his doorstep. A silhouette with long, dripping hair. Like a wraith from a Japanese horror movie, with curtains of wild monsoon rain moving back and forth behind it.
"Hello?"
It called out in a high, shaky voice.
"Is anybody home?"
He kept his eye at the peephole.
"I know this is going to sound crazy."
The voice was girlish and, of course, untrustworthy.
"But your house is the only one with a light on the block."
She stopped and hugged herself, shivering as she coughed. Rain from her baggy clothes was puddling on the porch. Some kind of manacle was on her wrist with a chain attached. One of those moronic fashion accessories kids wore these days, like dog collars and rings through the nose like a bull. He tried to see who else was out there with her. It was a trick of some kind. The okey-doke, they called it on police shows, using an innocent-sounding girl or a child in distress to get you to open your door to home invaders. Unbelievable that someone would try to use a night like this as a pretext.
"Sir, ma'am, I know you're in there. I can hear the television."
She suddenly reached out and banged with the brass knocker. It had been years since anyone had used it, and he jumped back, almost slipping on his mother's old throw rug. From the living room, he could hear the laughter from the Cheers audience, reminding him of the warmth and comfort he'd left behind. His tea and cell phone were on the coffee table, but he knew it would be useless to try to call 911. With the way the government had been whipping people up about this hurricane, he knew the police and fire department would never come. He was alone and totally unprotected.
"Please," she said, "I'm begging you. It's not safe for me out here."
"Get away!" he yelled. It was awful the way his voice cracked when he was stressed and made him sound more like his mother than his father. He should have kept pestering his brother, the big New Jersey state trooper, to help him get a gun a few years ago, instead of letting the subject drop when it was suggested that he could drive to Pennsylvania or Florida and buy one himself with just a driver's license. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen. But now he was here by himself, abandoned and defenseless, with this creature at his door, demanding to be let in.
"I know what you're thinking," she called out, "but someone is after me, and if they find me, they're gonna kill me."
She turned sideways to look behind her, and he could see a bump under her shirt.
"Mister, it's dark out here. I'm pregnant and I'm scared. Cars are getting carried away by the water in the street."
He saw now that blood was dripping from her wrist, but someone else could still be standing to the side of the door where he couldn't see them.
"What are you doing out in the middle of a hurricane?" he shouted. "Am I supposed to believe you just got lost?"
"If you let me inside, I'll explain."
"No, leave me alone."
She lifted one foot, then the other. Then she suddenly flung her whole body up against the door.
"Sir, I wouldn't be out here if I wasn't desperate."
Her voice was clogged with snot and self-pity.
"I know you want to do the right thing."
So what if it wasn't a trick? Did he really need trouble in his life? Some unwed pregnant teenager coming into his house and trying to make it her own? To soak his furniture and bleed on the fluffy white bathroom rugs? She'd want to warm up in his shower and use the nice towels. Then she'd ask to go in his bedroom and look in his closets for dry clothes. Next thing he knew, she'd be sitting in his Barca lounger using the remote to change the channel and watch her own programs. Or worse, she would want to talk. She'd want to tell him about all the misery that happened in her life that had led her to being out on the street in the middle of a hurricane, and he'd be expected to nod, listen, and say the right things in response without wanting to scream and jump out of his skin. Then she'd yawn and smile and put her hand on top of his and ask if it would be all right if she just stayed until the storm passed and the sun came up. And after that, he knew he would never be able to get her to leave.
"Get off my porch," he yelled. "I'm warning you."
He was standing a foot back from the peephole, clenching his jaw and bracing in case she hit the door again or started crying. He could hear the wind off the ocean getting fiercer now, pelting the rain harder against the side of his house and ripping away part of the awning over the front door. It went flapping away while his garbage cans went rolling down the street and sirens wailed in the far distance, attending to other people's emergencies.
"Sir, I'm begging you,"
she sniffed again.
"If you can't let me in, can you please just make a call for someone to come and get me?"